When did you realize the person everyone warned you about was actually trying to protect you? I was 12 when Marcus moved in next door. The whole neighborhood buzzed with whispers within hours. That's the man from the news, Mrs. Henderson said, clutching her pearls like they could protect her from whatever evil she imagined. The one who went to prison. Mom grabbed my arm that first evening as I headed outside to ride my bike. Her fingers dug into my skin hard enough to leave marks. Stay away from that house, she said, her voice sharp with fear. That man is dangerous. He hurt children. For weeks, I watched him through my bedroom window. He kept to himself, tending a small garden that was actually quite beautiful. Tomatoes and sunflowers mostly. He never made eye contact with anyone, never waved back when kids rode past. When children appeared on bikes, parents would immediately call them back inside. The mailman wouldn't even walk up his driveway. He'd throw packages from the sidewalk. But I noticed things others didn't. Little things that made me question everything the adults were saying. Like how he'd leave his porch light on until exactly 4:15 p.m. every weekday, which was precisely when I got home from school, even though he worked nights at the warehouse. How he'd suddenly appear to water his plants whenever the Parker boys followed me down our street, and they'd mysteriously decide to take a different route home. How his curtains would twitch whenever I walked past, like he was keeping watch. One evening in October, I was walking home late from the library when 3 older boys cornered me behind the gas station. Jake Morrison and his friends, the same ones who'd been making my life hell since middle school started. "Look what we got here," Jake sneered, shoving me against the brick wall. Little bookworms all alone. They went through my backpack, laughing as my books scattered across the dirty pavement. One of them grabbed my math homework and tore it in half. Another kicked my water bottle, sending it rolling into the gutter. "Please," I said, hating how my voice cracked. "Just leave me alone." That's when Marcus appeared. He didn't run or shout. He just stepped out from behind the dumpster, where he must have been taking out trash, and asked quietly, "Problem here?" The boys looked up, and I watched recognition flash across their faces. Jake's cocky grin disappeared instantly. Within seconds, all 3 of them were gone, leaving my things scattered everywhere. Marcus knelt down and helped me collect my books. Up close, I could see the deep sadness in his eyes, lines around them that spoke of sleepless nights. "You should get home," he said gently, handing me my torn homework. "It's getting dark." The next day, Mom was waiting when I got back from school. Her face was white with fury, and I knew immediately that someone had seen me with Marcus. "Mrs. Chen saw you talking to him," she said, her voice shaking. "I specifically told you to stay away from that monster." She marched me straight to Pastor Williams, who sat me down in his office surrounded by crosses and explained in careful, measured words why men like Marcus were dangerous, how they pretended to be kind to gain children's trust, how they studied kids' routines, learned their vulnerabilities, how I needed to report any contact immediately before I became his next victim. But something didn't add up. If Marcus was so dangerous, why did he avoid children completely? Why did he cross the street when kids were around? Why would a predator go out of his way to stay isolated? I started watching more carefully. Marcus never tried to talk the kids, ever. When the elementary school bus stopped at our corner, he'd retreat inside until it left. When parents walked by with strollers, he'd turn away. If he was hunting for victims, he was doing a terrible job. Late one Thursday night, I heard shouting from his yard. I peeked through my curtains and saw 3 men surrounding him, pushing him, calling him names that made my stomach turn. Marcus just stood there, hands at his sides, taking every insult. "We know what you did," one of them yelled. "We know why you were in prison, you sick freak." That's when Marcus looked up, directly at my window. Our eyes met for just a second, and I saw something I didn't expect. Not guilt or anger, just exhaustion. The next morning, there was a note taped to our mailbox. In careful, neat handwriting, it read, "Check the news archives. March 15th, 2018, the real story." I couldn't fit what happens next in this short video. Watch the rest down below.